Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to do a tutorial video on another muscle body. This is a 1976 Kung Fu Grip muscle body land adventure. For those of you who aren't really familiar with this style of body, I would get on vintage3djoes.com. It's got some really good information on these, almost like a nice slideshow documentary on the individual designers at Hasbro that produced this and all the prototypes that went into making this style of figure. They're highly collectible. You can be found in various different shapes, some in great shape, some in not so great shape, but people seem to enjoy collecting them and refurbishing them and adding them to their collection. Luckily for me, I found this one on Craigslist, and he's in near perfect condition. He has no melt marks. His leg joints and feet and hips are really tight, which is rare for these. And the only thing wrong with him is he has a little bit of discoloration on the shoulders. So the body's in fantastic shape. So I wanted to, since I got this nice of a figure, I wanted to kind of go or do a video of my step process to how I'm going to restore this guy. So again, there's a little discoloration on the bicep plastic, so I'm not sure what this is from. This guy didn't look like he was played with hardly at all. So the first thing I like to do with these figures is evaluate the flocking on the heads. Obviously you can see from this guy, he has a little bit of wear. Actually, it's a little bit more than a little bit. So we're going to go ahead, and the first thing we're going to do is pop out this neck post in the bottom of the head, and then we're going to put this in alcohol, rubbing alcohol. I go like 2 parts rubbing alcohol, 1 part water, and let it soak for probably a day. And then I have a little scraping tool I use. I think I might have it here. I'll show you. Just use an old serrated steak knife. It's kind of dull, so I can kind of just scrape, not really damage the head. It's actually hard to damage these heads. The plastic on them is pretty durable. So, but anyway, just get some nice scraping tool that won't damage your head and use that. So first thing I like to do is I have a nice old flathead screwdriver I got from my dad when I was probably little. And I like to just take it and just kind of get it in between the neck and the post and just work my way around slowly until that neck post pops right out. So there you go. The neck post is out. No damage to it. You can kind of take the screwdriver and pop out all the old degraded rubber. So this guy's ready to go. So we'll put him off to the side. Again, I just get a nice cup, soak it in 2-to-1 ratio, 2 parts rubbing alcohol, 1 part water. Let it sit for 24 hours, and then we'll come back and we'll scrape the head. Okay, so it's time to soak the head. Like I said, we just use standard isopropyl alcohol, 91%, 2-to-1 ratio, the water. Dump him in there. And we'll let him soak for I always try to do like 24 hours or so. I'm not really sure. I've never not gone less than that. I usually go over that because I just put them in there and forget about them for a few days. So 24 hours usually is pretty good. I don't know what other people recommend. It's just what I'm going to do. I will say this, that rubbing alcohol for me works the best on deflocking the heads. I know some other guys have used other solutions, but I think this probably works the best for the old G.I. Joe flocks. So I would suggest trying that. So we'll let this sit for a few hours, and then we'll come back and I'll do a little scraping tutorial, and then we'll move on. Okay, so we're back. The G.I. Joe head is set in the solution of alcohol and water for about, it's been a little over 24 hours, actually. So we'll go ahead, take him out, and drip dry a little bit. This is what I'm going to use. It's a razor knife with a little bit of dull blade, just a scrape action. So let's get him, and we'll kind of get the camera ready here and just go over real quick how I'm scraping it, so you can see how easily the old flocking comes off. It just basically peels right off. So basically you just keep scraping until you get him clean. I'd recommend taking a toothbrush afterwards and trying to get as much of the old flocking as you can off. So that's basically how you deflock the head. I'll finish scraping up and show you the finished product of this, and then we'll move on to the actual flock. Okay, so as you can see, he's all deflocked. Took about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so maybe to do the whole head. Comes off really easy the longer you let it sit in the 2-to-1 alcohol water solution. So just be aware, if you want your job to be easier, time and exposure. So he's all done. He's ready to roll. So next will be flocking. And I've done a tutorial on that, but I'll go ahead and probably flock him for this video as well. So we'll be back here in a little bit with flocking. Okay guys, we're back. Here's my flocking box set up. So if you've seen my previous videos on flocking, pretty simple setup. Made it myself. Just attach it to a power strip, flip the switch down there and turn it on, and it all flocks away. So got my flocking here, my tools, G.I. Joe ready to go. Going to use Gorilla Glue Clear. I get these cheap brushes from Walmart. Apply the Gorilla Glue to the hair. I just follow the old glue lines, and then dump the flocking in the tray right under the node, flip the switch, and flock him. So I'll go ahead and glue him up and dump the flocking in the tray, and then we'll come back and we'll flock the head a little bit. Okay, there you go. Head all coated. So we will come over here, flip the switch, and we'll just flock him. So, pardon the shaky camera. I'm trying to do this one-handed. So, I'll get him finished flocking and we'll check the final. All right, all flocked. So, I usually just take a clamp it to this and let him sit, and then let him dry overnight, and then we'll clean him off tomorrow and mount him to the body. All right, so we'll let this guy sit overnight, and not a bad flock. I'm by no means an expert flocker, so when it turns out like this, I'm usually pretty happy. I do fine, coarse bristle paintbrush, and when I'm all done, I just kind of brush him down to get all the loose flocking off. But yeah, turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. So the next step is to continue putting the body together, and then we'll marry the head to the body, and then I'll show you the finished product. So stay tuned for part 2 of the video series of restoring this 1976 muscle body land adventure. Cheers.